Alright, looks like we're live. We'll be getting started in a sec, about a minute or so. Hope everyone's having a lovely day. Alright, looks like it's 1 o'clock, so let's get started, guys. Welcome, welcome. Black 6 from BZPower here. Another live build this weekend. We've got the latest Star Wars sculpture set, I guess. There's a time where, like, you know, the BB-8 and the Porg and R2-D2 were kind of considered UCS sets. I'm not sure if that's the case anymore, but we've got Yoda here. There's our overlay. 75255, 1,771 parts for only $100. So great price to part ratio. But it looks like there's, you know, a lot of plates and kind of basic parts in there, so maybe that is kind of why that ratio is so good. When I got this set yesterday, I still had the set we built last weekend out, and I was kind of struck by the comparison or the similarities. So both Yoda and the Statue of Liberty got a nice tan base with a sand green top, so we're, you know, pretty much doing the same thing we did last time. I think it's a pretty safe comparison there. But yeah, this is Yoda as seen in, I guess, Attack of the Clones and the Clone Wars TV show and Revenge of the Sith. You know, he's got his lightsaber. He looks angry, which you don't really see too much in the original films. So I guess that's kind of where they're basing this version on. A lot of people comment on the head and specifically the eyes, how they look a little creepy. I'm honestly just looking forward to seeing how these are built because it looks quite impressive. I know you can move the tops of his eyelids to give him some different expressions, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. Excuse me. So that is the front of the box. On the back, we can see those moving eyelids features. Apparently his head turns. He's got some of his little white wispy hair. And this set is 16 inches tall, but that's all the way to the top of the lightsaber. So maybe Yoda himself is about a foot tall. And he has a little display plaque similar to BB-8 and the Porg, so he will look great with them. It's really interesting how very studs out this build is, right? It's not a lot of smooth surfaces. They definitely make it look like Lego, but at the same time, if you remember the first iteration of the Yoda sculpture, which was based more on his original trilogy look, the head on that one, I guess the whole thing was very studs up. They didn't use as much snot back then, so this one is definitely an improvement, I think, from a detail perspective. Alright. That's everything in our box. Let's see what we got here. C10 is our highest number. Oh, 13. Alright, I hope we can get this all built today. Yep, looks like there are 13 bags. There's only one bag per number. Oh, we got a really long white axle. I'm guessing that is for the lightsaber, so that's pretty sweet. And some of these bags are pretty small, so hopefully we're able to get the whole thing done in one sitting today. Number 9. Don't tell me I'm missing a bag, that'd be very awkward. Oh, there it is. Alright, so in addition to our 13 bags there, we've also got one bag of kind of some loose elements, some Technic frames, some parts for the display base, and like we showed off before, our long white Technic axle. And our instructions and the sticker, nicely bagged. So it looks like the display base is the only sticker we've got on there. Homeworld unknown, species unknown, height 0.66 meters, Jedi Order, apprentices, Luke, Obi-Wan, Dooku, and he is 900 years old. Could have sworn he didn't look a day over 750. Alright, so there's our instructions. Let's open it up. See if there's anything interesting in here. Nope, they just get right to it. So our first bag got his feet and a lot of Technic for the Technic frame, and then we just kind of start building the front and the sides, and the back. And so like the first half is the body, and then the last half's the head. All right. Lots of Technic parts. Oh, those little half pins in there. So that's probably, those are the pins with the stud. So I guess we're putting them all in the beginning. So we have places to attach all of his outsides, all the robe attachment points. Looks like we're gonna need all 5 of these Technic frames to start with. Kind of interesting connection with some recent Star Wars news in Yoda. If you're a Star Wars nerd, you might have seen the announcement of what was previously referred to as Project Luminous is now being called Star Wars The High Republic. So it's kind of a cross-media publishing blitz, I guess is the best way to put it. But they're kind of picking a time period in the Star Wars universe, and they're going to be publishing a whole bunch of books and comics based on that time that all kind of are interconnected. Reminds me a little bit of when they did Shadows of the Empire in the mid-90s, right? They had like, there's the book and comics and the video game and the toys. I think they called it the Star Wars movie without the movie. Although this seems to be very much focused on just books. They haven't said anything about like any video games or toys or anything to tie in. But I guess we'll have to see just what they decide to do there. But as I said, it's called the High Republic, so it's set several hundred years before the events of the Phantom Menace. I think they said, I forget if it's 200 or 300 offhand. But in any event, that's interesting because about the only people we know from Star Wars who would have been alive at that point that we know of would be Yoda. Maybe a couple of the Wookiees that we see in the Clone Wars. I'm not quite sure how old all of them are. But Yoda would definitely have been alive. And honestly though, I kind of hope that they don't really include him too much, or that he's just kind of like, you know, a little side character. Because I would definitely looking forward to them focusing on some new characters, like a new time period in Star Wars. I think that could be a whole lot of fun. So it's not quite as far back as like the Old Republic stuff they did back in the day, Knights of the Old Republic, and then all the books and comics that spun off that. But still a few hundred years ago, very different time for the Jedi. In theory, there's not going to be any Sith around. And the Jedi are kind of at their peak of prosperity before the Clone Wars. Who said I was building Baby Yoda? I think you've been misinformed there, BFA home. No Baby Yodas here. Right now we've got a Technic frame. And you can see we're using a lot of those pins with studs to be able to attach all sorts of system stuff later on. Well, I suppose from a size perspective, the final model may be about the same size as Baby Yoda. Or the child, as people will tell you to refer to him as. I'm not sure which people, but I'm sure someone out there. Some marketing person who's like, I am legally obligated to tell you that you must refer to this creature as the child. It has a name, but we won't tell you what it is. I mean, really, what did they think we were going to refer to it as? Especially since there seemed to be a surprising number of people who, you know, watched The Mandalorian. Maybe not surprising, I don't know. I guess my perspective is always going to be skewed because I am very much in deep when it comes to Star Wars. But like people I've talked to who watched the entire series and didn't know the time period that it was set during, they're like, oh, this is supposed to be after Return of the Jedi, so that can't be Yoda when he's a baby. It's like, no guys, that's not how it works here. you doing, camera? There we go. Okay, that was weird. Lots and lots of these pins. This connects there. It's looking pretty much exactly like Yoda so far, I think, right? Oh, forgot our brick separator. It's got a very important spot, as always, in our brick separator cup. So that's kind of interesting. So we just built these little assemblies that have a Technic pin and a pin axle in them. And those are going into here. So it's kind of connecting the two so they can't pull apart, but it's not actually connecting on the bottom there. It's just kind of more holding it in place. Not sure why they didn't just use two normal Technic friction pins to really give it some more strength. Hey there, Aaron, welcome. So our first system pieces going in there. And that looks like that's going to be kind of to help balance him once we put the feet on. Which is what we're doing now. And apparently the feet are identical. So I'm going to build both of those at once. Here's a very useful part in a cool color. I feel like we probably got this in, what was it, the dragon from the Ninjago movie, Lloyd's Dragon. But maybe we didn't. Maybe it's new. Apparently, while most of Yoda's feet and his head and everything are going to be sand green, the bottoms of his feet are bright green. Guess they didn't feel like recoloring that part just for this set, since you're not really going to be able to see it too easily. It is kind of interesting that this whole build for Yoda is using sand green when the minifigure, I believe, this current iteration actually uses olive green, which I think is a closer match. Wonder how working with Lucasfilm was on that one. It's like, hey, we want this giant Yoda statue. Okay, well, it's going to be sand green. No, we want an olive green. Like, that would cost too much because we'd have to make all of these parts in that color. The left channel keeps disappearing. I'm not touching any audio cables. Is it just me or the music or both? Both. Alright, let's see where we could have a loose connection. Hey there, dollar. Now I'm definitely playing with cables, so. everything seems like it is seated pretty well. All left, no right. Is it still all left, no right? It's on the right now. The heck. How about now? Probably cut out for a hot second there, but hopefully it's back now. Alright. The cable that seemed like it was in all the way has been unplugged and replugged. Have to do a more thorough check after the stream's over. Just unplug and replug everything and make sure it's all properly seated. Alright, so here is our Yoda foot so far. Quite a few shades of green interspersed there. And I get to make his two toes. So the latest bit of LEGO Star Wars set news I've seen is, I guess, I forget when it was last year or 2 years ago. I think it was a Target exclusive. They had a Darth Vader bust set. And so it looks like they're going to be continuing that with a more widely available theme. So far they've shown Boba Fett and a Stormtrooper. And by shown, I mean some retailer in Southeast Asia, I think, posted them on their website, because they certainly weren't at Toy Fair. And most interesting thing is that the ages on the box they showed was 18 up. Like even this Yoda set here that we're building, well, this one is 10 and up. Considering like how big of a set it is, it's pretty low, I would feel. But like the architecture sets are usually you don't see anything higher than 16 and up. And now here we are getting 18 and up, which I'm not sure if that's ever been a thing in a LEGO set before. So it's like obviously 100% targeted at adults there. So curious to see if that's like the start of a trend, perhaps. And we're gonna see more sets like that. I guess it depends on how well those sets do. But I mean, looking at the sets, they're like 700 parts, I want to say, ish. It's like, I don't know why that has to be 18 and up. You'd think they would want it like the lowest possible denominator. No one mentioned anything about the Mandalorian minifigs we saw with the Razor Crest being a prototype, but the people who are there showing off the sets don't always know, so it is possible that that was a prototype Mandalorian minifig we saw with the Razor Crest. So here we've got Yoda's feet. His toes can kind of move a bit, can spread out. So like, I guess a little bit of posability there. And then those pop into these little Technic pins. Oh, and because of this Technic pin with the stud here, gotta line that up right so that these round tiles keep it from moving too much. So he's got like a little bit of range of motion on the feet, but not a whole lot. Yes, the Baby Yoda is definitely a prototype. I mean, no one said anything, but looking at it in person, yes, it's very clearly like 3D printed and painted. It was also interesting that it seemed like they were doing a very thorough job. Like if you looked at a lot of the pictures, a lot of the minifigures for all of the sets were on like these little brick-built display bases that they were actually glued to. So they really didn't want any minifigures to walk away at the show this year. Which I guess sadly has been a thing that's happened in the past. Yeah, I feel you there, BFA. I held out on the ATST because I agree with your assessment of it kind of being garbage. But it's like I really do want some of those minifigs in that set. And, you know, if it is a different Mando in the Razor Crest, then I want the first version of the Mando, I want Cara. Alright, there is the end of bag one. So you see we've built this Technic beam going in here, and that's got some posability, so this is what Yoda's head is going to attach to, I believe. So you can see it can kind of go back and forth a little bit, and then side to side. So we'll see how much of that movability, posability is kind of revealed in the final model. And I've got 2 extra of these guys, so that tells me I forgot to put some somewhere. I got those 2. There's some other stuff where they're like, hey, put one of these guys in. Well, not jumping out at me. We'll keep the pieces on the side in case I go to attach something later and don't have the right amount. Yeah, definitely want to get that Mandalorian battle pack. Now, at least this time, unlike the old one, the minifigs are different and have some nice variety in them. Alright, so now, looks like we're starting on his chest, but only like the brown part of like the under robe, not his outer tan robe. So we got some big plates and stuff in here. Yeah, I definitely have acquired several of the old Mando battle pack I think I've only built like 2. But yeah, it's definitely good for like troop builders for sure. But I don't really do a lot of Star Wars diorama displays, so I don't really need troop builders. Maybe someday I'll come up with some cool project for them. Meanwhile, they collect the dust. See, lots of brown plates. Just kind of stacking up together here. Here's what we've got so far going together. You can see just basically a lot of stacked bricks and plates, a few interesting colors kind of getting hidden under there a little bit. And presumably that's going to attach on here at some point. It's kind of interesting, like seeing some of the techniques that Lego designers use these days, and like just looking at the feet, you know, how kind of smooth and such they are, how brick built the body is. and how many studs are going to be showing in this build. Not to say that I think it looks bad or anything, it's just a different aesthetic than I'm used to in some of these sets. So have you guys been keeping up with LEGO Masters as it's been airing? Last week was a pretty tense episode for a couple of the teams. Obviously for the one that was eliminated. A lot of asymmetry going on in this build, at least. Even if it is just primarily stacking stuff up. Alright, starting to look like something. Looks like we're actually getting close to being done with bag 2 here. And we're just gonna move right on into bag 3 and do our first giveaway at the end of bag 3. Alright, so that's it for bag 2. We're not even attaching it just yet. It's fairly hollow underneath, keeps the weight down, but so far pretty solid. And yeah, presumably it's gonna like attach onto here. Not too many parts in bag 3. Hopefully we should be through that pretty quick. So there's part of his outer robe now. any statics on the audio. I honestly can't hear any of that, which is odd. But at least that helps me narrow down where the issue might be. Although I should be able to at least see where the static is. Okay, now it's nice. I don't know what is going on there. Alright, another chunk of the rib. I like how they're like leaving some like, kind of gaps in there. So it's kind of like the cloth is not like sitting fully, it's kind of popping out a little bit, which, you know, that does happen. Going back to that Mando battle pack. Yes, I do like the kind of different visor design that some of them have. Like you say, the night owl look. So BFA Home, how excited are you for the Siege of Mandalore in the Clone Wars? As soon as we finish this arc that we've already seen, hopefully we'll get some new stuff like that. Alright, we actually have some Technic going in here. Not sure what that is going to be for. Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be here and gone before we know it. Kind of sad that they decided to stick with the 22-minute episode format. Like, if this is streaming, they can make the episodes however long they want. Why do they have to still be 22 episodes? They're 22 minutes. Why couldn't they make them a little longer? Give us a little extra content. I mean, fans have been waiting for this for how long? Compared to watching The Mandalorian, they just go by so fast. And we know there's so few of them. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool too. The Dark Disciple arc, which got turned into a book, but let us see that, you know, fully animated and voice acted and everything. Or the Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir comic series. Could have just thrown that in there before the Siege of Mandalore. random little bit of Technic going in here. Maybe that's going to be so you can like have the lightsaber attached to his belt. I don't know, I don't think there's anything wrong with having some depressing Star Wars arcs. As long as it would have been more. And yeah, they did tweak things from the original animatics, like they added that Padme scene, and based on the interviews Dave Filoni has done though, they added that Padme scene because they realized that in all these new episodes they were making, there was no Padme at all in any of them. Which is kind of like, what? Like, well then make some more episodes that have Padme in them. I'm sure she wasn't just sitting around doing nothing this whole time. Alright. There we go. So actually it looks like this is part of his shirt sleeve. And so this is going to be where his hand attaches once we get there. Kind of neat. And so this whole thing, oh wait, no, this is going to be where his other hand attaches because I was holding this whole thing upside down. And they show us where this goes on. I assume it's centered on here. Yep. Alright. Does it look like Yoda yet? Oh, those into bag 3. So the chat is not going to be shown for a couple minutes. We've got our giveaway link up. Head over to bzpower.com/giveaway. Get yourself entered in that real quick. Oh, bag 4 doesn't even have an inner bag. That's how small some of these are. Alright, let's see how many people we've got entering so far. Not many. Guys, enter. It's free Lego. Who doesn't want to enter? Alright, I'm going to start building bag 4. We'll see if anyone else enters. One more person to enter. At least I know someone's paying attention. And then we'll pick our winner. Alright, there we go. Get rid of the giveaway link for now. Let's see who our first winner will be. Dollar, congrats, you won an Imperial Death Trooper buildable figure. So we'll be getting in touch to get you that prize. No one's judging anyone, BFA home. As long as you don't forget about lug bulk, you're all good. So as long as you don't forget about lug bulk, you're all good, BFA home. Which I think you're plenty good on the lug bulks. What's logbook? You pulling my chain there, BFA? Logbook is how giant Pikachu biscuit mosaics come into being. Oh, I didn't realize that was a spoiler, my bad. So getting back to the Clone Wars, one thing that's kind of seemed odd to me is that there weren't any new Lego sets announced that seem to really tie into the Clone Wars. You'd think that Disney and Lucasfilm would all be wanting to get with Lego to make some more Clone Wars sets based on the new episodes. You know, give us a Bad Batch battle pack or something like that. Like, you know, the fans would go crazy for a Bad Batch battle pack. I guess there's always the summer sets that weren't revealed yet, but it seems like they're kind of missed an opportunity there. Give us some Ahsoka clone troopers. Would be pretty awesome. Alright, so just built another chunk of Yoda here. Kind of colorful underneath. Yeah, right? I mean, like all the figures they could do for the Siege of Mandalore arc. And plus, they still haven't announced when we're getting the Sabine and Ahsoka spin-off TV series. That, I think, is the most important and most tragic thing. Yeah, Star Wars buildable figures of any of that kind of stuff. That'd be pretty sweet. But sadly, that is dead. Like a new design for the clone troopers. Yeah, we got Commander Cody way back in the first wave, but you know, could have gotten at least Rex with some of the newer pieces that came out since then. It's true, never did get like Anakin Skywalker either. in the buildable figures. I guess there's a lot of things you never got in the buildable figures that would have made a lot of sense, but that they didn't do. I'm not sure if I would want a live action Sabine and Ahsoka series, because I think the chances would be very slim that they'd get Ashley Eckstein and Tia Sircar, I can't remember her last name exactly, to play the characters. And if it's not the two of them voicing those characters, then I think it would lose a lot. And like, I want to say fans would understand, but you know they wouldn't. There would be outrage, especially since everyone loves Ashley Eckstein. But as far as other interesting Star Wars stuff going on, in addition to all the Clone Wars fun, the new Darth Vader comic, I think issue 2 comes out this week, and based on like some of the sample pages they've released online, and based on how the first issue ended, they're tying into one of the books that was released last year, Queen's Shadow, about Padme. And assuming, because it hasn't been officially confirmed, that where I think they're going is where they're going with it. But if it is, it's pretty freaking awesome. Like, Vader is made to think that Padme actually isn't dead, and what ensues is pretty awesome. Yeah, I think you'd be pretty hard-pressed to make an Ahsoka buildable figure with what we have. That would be some very, very interesting brickwork that I would love to see someone do. Or make a custom one, that could be cool too, since it's unfortunately very unlikely that we'll ever get an Ahsoka buildable figure. Yeah, her with like the white lightsabers, that would be pretty sick. At least we did get a minifig version of that. Gotta take the victories where you can get them. I don't know, do we know what which lightsabers Ahsoka's wielding at this point, since she's no longer in the Jedi Order? I guess it wouldn't be the white ones, because in the book they very clearly describe where her original lightsabers were, so presumably she does have those still. I don't know if Lucasfilm and Disney would let them get away with that and be at home changing her lightsaber's color in a set. They seem to be pretty picky and specific about that sort of thing. Alright, so I just spent all this time stacking all these bricks and plates. Very nice and asymmetric, I'll give it that. But it's just kind of like making sure you got all the spacing right. And now, all of this just pops onto the side here. And yeah, he's certainly coming along. Can kind of see where the sleeve comes down there, and we'll go to where the hand is going to be. And we're on to bag 6. Looks like this is going to be the start of his right side. Definitely a lot of 1x1 plates in this model to give it, I guess, just the right amount of texture in certain areas, like just the right spacing and everything. And so I feel like that is probably part of why this set has so many pieces for the price. Have to take a look at the inventory in the back when we finish up to see just what parts we had the most of. Alright, so despite the fact that kind of like the whole conceit on this Yoda build is that he is snot or studs not on top, this is the first two actual snot bricks that we've gotten in this model. 1x2 and a 1x1. Everything else has been achieved with Technic so far. Which is kind of impressive in its own way. Alright, just about done with bag 6 here. It's gonna be time for another giveaway. So just put that link back up on the stream again. BZPower.com/giveaway. Go ahead and enter. Got plenty of sets up for grabs today. I can't go anywhere else. That looks right. So there we go. We built a little bit on those snot bricks to give it a little bit of texture there. And yeah, I believe we're starting work on his other side there. So in bag 7, we'll do the lower section here. So go ahead and open that and then see who our next winner will be. Alright, who's it gonna be? Try it again. Where's everyone today? Why is no one entering our giveaway? Well, BFA Home, you're in luck. You've won a Baze Malbus buildable figure. Some pretty great parts in that set. So, hopefully you enjoy. Yeah, it's always frustrating in pretty much any LEGO set when there's a really cool part that it has, but only has one of them. So you have to go on Bricklink or buy a second copy of the set to get a second one. Or in this case, win one. There's your workaround, just win the set. Or find a group who's doing a draft of it. That's always good too. Of course, then you don't necessarily guarantee that you're going to get the parts you want, like that shoulder pauldron armor. Know exactly what that's a reference to, BFA home. Here. We don't have the yelling kid, we just have the yelling robot. Not as cool as that, brief period when we actually got Tahu yelling win. Yeah, I guess the yelling kid, he grew up. Couldn't yell anymore. But now, minifigures, they're ageless. You can go play, what is it, Lego Legacy, Heroes Unleashed, Unboxed, whatever the little tagline is on that. And collect some classic minifigs. I've been playing that. If you're into that style of game, like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, Marvel Strike Force, there's plenty others. There's a Star Trek one as well. It's a pretty good game of that genre. I've been enjoying it so far. Say my biggest gripe is that while there are guilds in the game, there's not really much for them to do just yet. But it's a start. I figure at some point I'm probably gonna need to find a more active guild to play with, but for right now what I've got's good. Alright. Looking pretty good here. Just need to make his arm now, I guess. I do see some more Technic bits in this bag. I presume we will be using for that. Okay, speaking of those Technic bits, time to get them in there. Alright, there we go. A little Technic assembly using those 1x2 bricks with 2 pinholes. That pops on there. They're just going to build up more tan parts to hide it. Alright, starting to hide Technic bits. Do you like how this black here, can kind of see it because it's kind of like going down, looking down his sleeve, so it gets kind of dark in the back there, kind of to represent the shadows. Alright, looks like we're just about done with bag 7 now. So there's his sleeve done. Now we attach this onto here. Make sure that's on there nice and good. Alright, so there is Yoda's right side, I guess. I think he's really starting to come together here. So it looks like bag 8. You can see we're going to be doing some detail up around here, but I think primarily we're going to be working on the back. Let's open that up. only back to 2 inner bags. You can see after this bag, one of the colors up there is primarily sand green, so after this I guess we start working on the head. Got some big plates in here. Guess it's gonna kind of help to fill out the back a little more quickly. Hey there, Brickus15, welcome. So I think what we're working on right now is supposed to be like his hood. That's kind of draped, kind of back, not on his head, just kind of hanging there. So you can see it's kind of like hollow in there. Alright, coming together pretty good there. Alright, another section there. Looking pretty good. Oh, and that is what we're doing now, is attaching it. There we go. So our Yoda is beginning to look like a something. It's pretty heavy at this point, considering that he's like completely hollow. There are still a lot of bricks and plates here. He's got a good bit of heft to him. So now it looks like we're going to do the collar here and fill that in. Some brown pieces back in the mix, kind of tie back into our brown that we had there for his underrobe. Getting our first taste of sand green in a while since we did the feet. So there is part of Yoda's neck, which we put right in there. It is interesting that in this area we are using some tiles and some curve slopes. Alright, yeah, so you can see kind of the first real use of tiles we've got on here, other than a little bit on the feet. And now this goes into there, attaches onto those studs. And yeah. You can see the hood back here now. Still have the part where the head is going to attach. It looks like now we're gonna actually start working on the head. With bag 9. So after this, we've got, or including bag 9, we've got 5 bags left to do. It's interesting that we're working on the head before the hands, but it looks like the hands and the lightsaber, I guess, are going to be the last part. So once we finish bag 9, we'll do our next giveaway. So if you have not entered yet, you can head on over to bzpower.com/giveaway, drop your name in the hat, and that way you don't have to worry about it later. I guess I was just expecting there would be a BFA home that like the head would be the last thing, but I guess because the lightsaber is attached to the hands, have to do the hands at the end as well. So you can see we're using these 1x2 plates with a little rail there. We're kind of slowly building around an opening here. So where it was a 2x2 opening, now it's only a 1x1. So I'm guessing that's gonna go over there and slide on top and still allow us to have some movement, which is probably why we use tiles here. So we'll be able to slide around. It's very colorful inside Yoda's head. And actually, in a couple of steps, we'll be adding some pink even. I guess that's supposed to be Yoda's brains. Alright, yep, add some pink in there. So Yoda's got some brains, I guess. Some lime green to boot. So I believe that is his nose. A little weird. It looks like we've got the eyes coming up next. They're gonna go on these black 1x3 jumpers. I'm just gonna cheat and do them both at the same time. so here's the start to his eyes. You can see that because we've got this log cabin brick and a round brick here. This 1x1 with a stud can move around a little bit. But next up, we're gonna use some Exoforce hands for the eyelids. So there we go. Got that 3x3 dish attached to an Exoforce hand. So it's gonna kind of starting to make the eyelid. I gotta do the top part. So the top part is kind of a similar construction with two of those dishes attached with an Exoforce hand. They use a half bushing as a spacer there, and so that can move kind of all the way around. And these attach on here. And you can see angry eyes, kind of sad eyes, but it's kind of a really cool design to give him a range of facial expressions. There, did that. Now I have to kind of lock in those eyes so they don't fall out. Did I put two of these jumper plates on wrong? Oops. Alright. Looks like we're on the last little assembly for bag 9 here. So in a minute, we'll go ahead and put up our giveaway link again. All right, there's the giveaway link. Go ahead and enter if you have not yet already. If you already did enter, you don't need to do anything else. You're good to go. All right. So there is our Yoda head so far. His movable eyelids. This is a cute little round nose. Lots of snot studs available down there. On the back, you can see we have this Technic brick. There's another one buried in there. So that when this goes on here, presumably somehow we'll be able to lock this in place. So he'll be able to kind of move a little bit. Less than I'm moving it right now once it's locked in, but he'll have some movement. Alright, go ahead and open up bag 10. And then we'll pick our winner. Alright, see who's next. Brickus15, you won Sergeant Jin Urso. Congrats. We'll be sending you an email letting you know how to get that prize. Alright, onward to bag 10. Lots of sand green in here, but still some other filler colors. Got some lime and some yellow. Got a little more pink, some more brains for Yoda. Such a stellar Jedi Master, right? He's gotta have lots of brains up in that head. Yeah, no problem, Brickus. Congrats. Alright, so I wasn't quite sure what this was we were building, but apparently, you know, they always frequently have you build studs up, but this is going to be a snot thing that we're going to be putting like that. That's actually going to attach down here, and so it's Yoda's mouth. And it kind of gives some good shaping around the eyes. So he's really starting to come to life there. That little frog dude. Oh, there's one little snot brick on the bottom, so I can give him a chin. And he needs some sides of his face here. Hopefully that's next. Yep. Using some of those snot connections here. Fill in the sides of his face. Did end up with this little gap here, which is kind of annoying, but it's like a half of a plate thickness, so I'm not sure how we could have easily avoided that, unfortunately. This whole assembly only attaching to, by a couple of studs there. And the cool thing is it does cover up half of that gap I was complaining about. Well, it does make a little bit of a new one, but you can really see his face starting to come into play. Although now with all these curve slopes and stuff, it's a little harder to access his like under eyelids here to move those around, so it's just easier to access the top ones. There's kind Yoda face. Alright, and already did all that, so now we're on to bag 11. Blazing through here. 11 looks like we're focusing on the ears. again, I'm using the last non-sand green parts in this step, and you can see all of the reservoir parts we've got for this bag are all sand green. I think it's going to make things really interesting. Said it with the Statue of Liberty, and I'll say it again. This is why you sort by part and not by color. Starting to look kind of like some Yoda ears. So we've got our pair of Yoda ears. So we've got to pop these in here. Like so. Like so. Can use that. He's looking like a Jedi Master there. Oh yeah, we already did all that. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, so 12. Getting close. It's actually been taking a little bit less time than I thought it was going to. Only 2.5 hours or so. So now I've got to finish the top of his head and the back, attach it to the body, and the last bag I guess will be the hands and the lightsaber. Let's put that up there for now just so he doesn't look so creepy. Alright, so I've been using a lot of curved slopes here to build the top of Yoda's head. And a little bit of white for his wispy hair. I think, yeah, that is the last little curve slope there, and now we can just pop this right on there. You can see that kind of goes perfectly in with some of the stuff we previously built. Kind of finishes off his eyes nicely, but you can still give him the angry eyes or the little bit kinder, softer eyes. Although the one on the left seems like it can turn more than the one on the right for some reason. Yeah, that one goes all the way down. So there we go. Aw, poor sad Yoda. Oh, and now I'm supposed to put it on there. Alright, now use a little Technic axle there. Not sure how you're going to get that out because it's got to stop. But now his head can turn. It can kind of move forward a little bit, back, and kind of bob around. Alright, but now we get to build the back of his head. Attaching that like that. Finally, this is kind of the first part in anywhere on the head, other than like a couple of cheese slopes here, we're getting into some asymmetry for Yoda. His robes had a lot of it, which was pretty interesting, definitely kept the build engaging. But you know, you might have noticed a lot of the time when we were building the head, I could build like both ears at once, and both eyes at once, and all the side parts at once, but here there's only one back of his head, I guess, but at least it is proving to be a little more interesting. just about done with bag 12. So sticking with our trend, every 3 bags we've been doing a giveaway, so just put that link up there. Here is the back of Yoda's head. That attaches to, got some studs in there. Voila. Couple more little details, some hair pieces here. Really sell the look. Alright. Got our display base, our big Technic axle, our 1 sticker. Open up our final bag here. Alright, let's see who the next winner will be. Pohatron, congrats, you have won a K2SO buildable figure. Alright, so there you go, you can see his head spins a little bit. Can kind of bobble around. I guess it can kind of tilt a little, but it does not really stay tilted. And it can't really tilt back that much. But so it's mainly kind of spinning side to side. Alright. Time to finish this fight. All these lovely trans bright green 2x2 rounds. We'll make a lightsaber out of them yet. But first, we gotta make some hands that can hold the lightsaber. Alright, there's the base of his hand. So you've got 3 of these 1x1 rounds with the bar. The one back here doesn't really move too much, but these 2 do have a little bit of posability. And now we get to make his fingers. And I guess judging by the fact that it's not having us build all of them at once, at the very least the thumb, which is where we're starting, is different from the others. So I guess I have to respect the instructions here and build them one at a time. Alright, so there's There's the thumb. Oh, and next up is the lightsaber. You can also see we have the little Technic connectors there, so that can pop on. Alright, jumping right into the lightsaber. I assume that's because we have to attach it to the hand before we can attach it to the body. Which is a little disappointing, since that means that it's not going to be easily removable in the display. So you got 23 of these trans 2x2 rounds. They all need to go on this axle. Try to get a few on there, and then we'll slide them down. Plus side, this is very sturdy because these guys, you know, obviously all interlock plus the axle in there to give it more strength. Alright, and then finish it off with this, which I thought was a 2x2 round dome brick, but it's actually the hollow kind of crystal vase thing. That goes on there. Alright. A little more construction to be done here. So there's the base of his lightsaber hilt, just attaching to a white lightsaber bar. There we go. And we're still not quite done yet. Alright, now we're done with Yoda's lightsaber. Now the hand attaches onto here. Oh, how if I hold this the right way? Why isn't it lining up? Like that. Now we get to make the other two fingers, which, hey, they're identical to the thumb. Oops. Oh well. Alright, just clip on there, clip on there, wrap around. That looks pretty awesome. I really like how that turns out there. And then attach the Technic. Alright, and one more hand to go. And then our display base, and then our diminutive yet powerful master of the Force. And be ready to fight another day. So this hand is somewhat similar to the first, but it definitely has some differences, especially in how it connects. Since this one used two Technic pins, double pins, this one just has a Technic axle, probably because this one has to support more weight. Plus side, you get to do all of these fingers at the same time. Alright, there's his second hand completed. A little bit of bright green there, kind of jumps out at you, but I think once we pop that in there, once we get everything lined up and pop that in there, can't really see that at all. Now I do have to play with the fingers a little bit here to get them to line up around the lightsaber. Works pretty well. Alright, Yoda is done. Now just for our display base, complete with a Yoda minifigure who doesn't match Yoda, as you'll see in a couple moments. First, gotta do our sticker. Thankfully, these guys aren't as big as like a normal UCS set, so they're not nearly as much of a pain in the butt. I think I'm still gonna use 2 knives to get this on here. Alright, easy peasy there. Snaps on. And last but certainly not least, got our minifigure Yoda. Who looks great. But he's olive green and not sand green. So he's a very different shade of green than the figure we just built, or the sculpture. So that's kind of odd. Definitely jumps out at you. And yeah, that is it. So let's take a look and call it a day. Anything else in the instructions? Oh, ads for some of the other sets that were coming out last year. I guess these are just the minifigures on the left and some of the sets on the right. Oh, there's our inventory, so let's see what part we had the most of. 58 sand green 1x1s, only 47 of the 1x2s, but 78 tan 1x1s, and 128 tan 1x2s. So those definitely kind of jacked up the part count there for those little itty bitty parts. All right, so got our display stand, got our Yoda. Start with the play features. So his feet can kind of wiggle a little bit, but not too much. The toes, side toes can move, but you know, when he's standing, I don't really have many places to move to. His hands, the fingers on the hands do move. They each have 2 points of articulation, but the wrists are pretty much locked into place there. So it kind of only really have one pose for him holding the lightsaber. The head can move, it can turn about that much to that side and that much to the other. It kind of wiggles around a bit. Gives it almost like a little bit of a kind of organic pose. As I was joking before, you can have him kind of like unts, 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 unts. And then the big thing there is his upper eyelids are fairly easily accessible, so you can kind of give him like an angrier expression. I guess you can get to the lower ones too. So you can make him look like he is ready to attack Count Dooku, or you can kind of go the other way. And he is sad that he has failed the Jedi Order. But yeah, so you can see the head. It's got a lot of curved slopes to it, very nice and smooth, as are the hands. But the robe, you can see a lot of bricks, a lot of studs visible, and it's all kind of snot on this Technic frame. You can see he's got some hair in the back, and he's got his hood. Looking at the back, it's a little flat back there. I mean, you're not really going to see that too much, so it's not that big of a deal. It's kind of just an interesting choice to have the studs on the robes and the smooth curve slopes on the head and stuff. And then underneath, he is hollow. You can see like all the way up there. So he's pretty much just built on a Technic frame with 4 chunks on either side and the head attached on top. So yeah, that is Yoda. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I know I had fun building this, and honestly in person he's not nearly as creepy as like the pictures on the instruction manual. I feel like, or like, the pictures you see online. He definitely looks pretty good. I'll be displaying him with my Porg and my BB-8, and later on this year when Dio comes out, I'll probably be getting him to display as well. So yeah, definitely, I mean, a good value. It was what, 1,700 parts for $100, and a lot of little parts. But if you're looking for lots of sand green curve slopes and lots of tan plates, definitely a good value for that. And or you could just build the set and get an awesome Jedi Master. So that is going to be it. Thanks again, guys, for watching. We should be back next weekend. We'll have to look at the results from the feedback we've gotten today. And also, LEGO recently sent us some more sets, including this guy that we just built, that we'll be putting in the running, that we'll be considering to build in the future. So stay tuned for that. Thanks again, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.